Hey there, so you may be wondering, why should you secure your ticket for the Performing Hypnosis Summit on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of March 2023, and in particular, why should you ensure that you are there for the presentations and any time that I'm sharing stuff during that weekend? Well, here's the thing, you know me either by my birth name, Alex William Smith, my former stage name of Alex-Leroy, the British bad boy of hypnosis, Europe's most outrageous hypnotist, regular television face around the world and in the media in the 90s and into the early noughties, or you may be known me by my latest stage name, Jonathan Royle. In any event, I've been in show business all my life. I was born on a travelling circus. I made my stage debut aged 3 and a bit as Flap the Clown on Gandhi's Circus, doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week. By the time I was sort of 7, 8 years old, I'd done more shows than many people do in their entire life. So I've had what they call flight time. I've also then been involved in the magic industries, mentalism industries, being a so-called genuine psychic before getting into stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Here's a little clip of me on television at the age of 8 as Flap the Clown. So yeah, as I make this video in March 2023, this is the year where I will turn 48 years of age and complete my 45th year as a professional performer who has travelled the world, appeared on hundreds of television shows, probably thousands of radio shows, and in every major national and international newspaper, magazine, media publication you can possibly think of, whether that be as a psychic entertainer, a mentalist, a magician, a circus clown, or obviously in more recent decades as a comedy stage hypnotist or celebrity hypnotherapist. Check out this next clip from circa 1993 when I was only 17 years of age, and there's some footage shown on there of me doing a stage hypnosis show back in circa 1990 when I was around 15 years of age. Yes, that's how long I've been doing it. And Uri Geller's doing the voiceover.
Hypnotism is big entertainment, earning big money for big performers, but it also brings big problems. Hi, I'm Uri Geller. You're probably used to seeing me bend spoons, keys, forks, fix broken watches, stop clocks with the power of my mind. Hypnotism is also using your mind, but in a different way. In this program, I will be introducing you to hypnotherapists like this.
Good. Good. That's good.
And hypnotists like this.
Lift. Stiffer, Richie. Stiffer. Stiffer still. Stiffer still. Really stiffer, Richie.
Dr. Khawaja spent years perfecting his skills. At just 18, Alex-Leroy already feels competent to pass his on.
I mean, I've already taught since about January of this year, about 12, 13 people how to be stage hypnotists. And of them, there are at least 6 that I know of that are actually now working, earning money and doing quite well.
Alex's stage show has already branded him as the country's most outrageous hypnotist.
Just because something's outrageous doesn't mean it's rude or obscene. That's what the impression people have got. Oh, it's an outrageous show, it's obscene, it's rude. If they came along, they'd see that 95% of it, anyone could watch. But it's perhaps just on that borderline of taste. Every hypnotist on earth has, I would imagine, had circumstances at some point or another where there's been someone who's not happy. Generally takes the form of maybe a husband or a wife who's a little bit irate at what you've got their wife or husband to do. I did a routine where I made the woman believe she'd fallen in love with me, as many hypnotists do, and when she proceeded to move her head down my body, I said sleep, which intimated to the audience that she was going to attempt to do something of a more sexual nature, which obviously wouldn't have took place. And merely because it was a major over-the-top show for people who'd seen my normal public show, so they needed some of that bit more, I said that when you awake in a few moments, you will imagine, and that's the key word, imagine. I didn't say she'd believe it had took place. I didn't say she would experience it. The word imagine means she would almost act it out, but without the emotional or physical element coming into play. So it's not as extreme as it sounds. I said, you will imagine that I've just raped you.
That stunt brought outrage and national publicity. Perhaps that is what Alex intended. Perhaps it wasn't. Banned in many cities, his shows have also earned him the wrath of his fellow hypnotists.
Indeed, there's nobody better placed to tell you about what is right or wrong to do with comedy stage hypnosis, believe me. I push the envelope beyond anybody. Indeed, Ken Webster, who has the world's longest running stage hypnosis residency in Blackpool, England, on Blackpool Pleasure Beach, once said on a Channel 4 television show that the trouble with Alex-Leroy, aka Jonathan Royle, is that he pushes it way too far. He was known as the most outrageous hypnotist, but then he openly admits I pushed it too far. Well, I did at the time. I don't now. Everything's context relevant, and things as they appear in the media are not always necessarily as they appear when you're there live, as will become true and clear during my talk at the Performing Hypnosis Summit, when I explain how the media work, how they can screw you over, how to stop yourself getting screwed over, and all those kinds of things. Because I started doing hypnotherapy in 1989, age 14, as the youngest ever member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, set up here in England by Dr. Brian Howard. So impressed by it that I later bought the company, and I now offer those courses via ultimatehypnosiscourse.com. Go and check it out, ultimatehypnosiscourse.com. Massively expanded on, of course. And in 1990, I started doing comedy stage hypnosis and demonstrational past life regression hypnosis shows at theatres around the northwest of England, as is illustrated on magicalguru.co.uk. And yeah, check out this next clip.
Deep into my eyes, because finally tonight Tom Mangold reports on the potential dangers of stage hypnotism.
Whenever I give you the very special pair of glasses, whenever you look through them, you'll think every man in this room is stark but naked.
Some people think stage hypnotism, the craze that's overtaking karaoke, is just a bit of a laugh, but others are not quite so sure.
Hypnosis can do a lasting damage to an individual, psychologically and physically.
Tonight we explore the curious world of the entertainers who invade your mind but may not always leave things exactly the way they were.
Relax, letting your heavy head fall forward, keeping your eyes closed and breathing deeply. As you probably guessed,
Back in Sharon's hometown of Preston, self-taught hypnotist Alex-Leroy actually boasts about beating the system.
Although the law says I'm not meant to hypnotise you when you're in the audience, I still can.
Do you check your victims before you hypnotise them? I mean, do you establish any kind of background in them at all?
Well, I'd firstly use the word volunteers, not victims. I always generally make sure that there's nobody who's pregnant, epileptic or asthmatic in any way.
How do you do that?
By generally asking them.
Each one individually?
Mostly off microphone.
Because I didn't see you asking them tonight.
Right, this is what's known in the trade as trying to trip up the interviewee.
You didn't ask them, did you?
Tonight? No. Because you are in love with the hypnotist. The more
He calls himself Europe's most perverted hypnotist, and this is just one of his tamer shows. Stage hypnotism, say mental health specialists, has all the dignity of medieval dwarf hurling mixed with sexual voyeurism. It may be a giggle for some, but it's dangerous for others.
When I awake you, do you remember it as though I've just raped you?
The Home Office warns of the dangers of indecent shows, and some councils are supposed to vet performances in advance, but Leroy got clean away with it.
What happened last night was that the landlord of this establishment unwittingly put this show on, what he should have done, he should have applied to the council for permission. That permission would not have been granted.
Why not?
Because the show that went on last night, I've heard, was obscene.
Truth is, Councillor, the system's a mess, isn't
The
it?
system is a mess, I must admit that.
Every eyelid's closed to breathe deeply.
Last week, for the first time, Sharon Taban's parents, who are leading a campaign to ban shows like this, plucked up the courage to see for themselves.
Feel yourself beginning to fall back.
They still want to know if their daughter's death is related to an entertainment they find humiliating and degrading. Mrs. Harper's advice is unequivocal.
Please, please do not volunteer.
Tom Mangold. Now, if you have a complaint against stage hypnotists, call us at the Here and Now office and we'll pass it on to Dr. Misra.
So it seems very severe. I had a woman wake up in 1994 that was shown on a TV show as though she'd been woken up as though she thought she'd just been raped. It's the power of that word, that is all. The truth is, the skit, or the sketch as you may call it, was essentially no different than one used by many hypnotists around the world today, where they get somebody to fall in love with somebody from the audience and they become the most attractive person in the world and they start hugging and kissing them, and then when you click your fingers they realise they're actually a horrible smelly pervert and they've got extra strength in the right arm and they pull away from that person and slap them around the face. That's a routine still used by many stage hypnotists around the world. I'm not saying it should be, I'm just saying it is. But essentially, when you look at it, it's the exact same routine that caused me in 1994, aged 18, to get world publicity featured in newspapers, magazines and newspapers. I'm not saying that because I'm proud of the routine. I'm not. In many regards, I actually regret having done that. However, it did get me massive publicity, open many doors and high-paying clients, and I'll explain how and why that occurred and how to turn perceptively negative publicity to financial profit and long-term reputation positive building during the Performing Hypnosis Summit, Saturday 11th and Sunday the 12th of March 2023. This next clip shows that I'm also uniquely placed to talk to you about the health and safety elements, the legal and licensing issues, the insurance issues and various laws that there are around the world, not just in England, although in England we have the 1952 Hypnotism Act. I'm uniquely placed because I'm one of the people who helped save stage hypnosis from being banned in England in the early 90s, as the next couple of clips will show.
Hey, harmless or deadly, that's what it's talking about. Hypnotism. Should hypnotists' stage acts be banned? Do you think they could be dangerous? Give us a ring, let us know this morning. The government certainly thinks so. Yesterday, it announced a review of the rules governing hypnotist stage acts. With me this morning, hypnotist Alex-Leroy. You would come under the category, Alex, would you not, I sense within your business, of the less ethical members of this profession?
I would totally object to that. Certain people in the industry would say that. They would link it to certain things that I've done. What I'd say is basically they're jealous due to the fact that I'm the one doing all the TV interviews and making all the money. I would say that I'm one of the more successful people who give the public what they want, which is justified by the fact of people coming time and time again to my shows.
But can you make people do anything you want?
Within the bounds of what they want to do. You can't make anyone say or do anything that they wouldn't want to do normally.
So you don't regard yourself as dangerous or deadly?
No, not at all. I don't think that any stage hypnotist is, unless they do things, for example, like not removing suggestions from people's minds or blatantly disregarding normal health and safety type laws.
So, I mean, it's fine for a laugh on the night, what you do, I suppose, but what about the long-lasting effects? I mean, do people really know the intricacies of the brain and the lasting effects of the power of suggestion that you guys use?
To be totally honest, nobody knows one way or the other, 100%.
Then you must be dangerous.
From my experience, from the experience of many other stage hypnotists, i.e. Paul McKenna, Andrew Newton, many other people, the people that abide by the laws laid down by the government, and the experience of hypnotherapists, hypnosis is a totally harmless state of psychological heightened awareness, which can only have beneficial effects.
Right, well, can you then envisage, and presumably you cannot, a situation where death can occur through hypnosis?
Yeah.
You can?
Example being, this is an extreme example, you suggest to someone they're Elvis Presley when they wake up and hear the music. That cowboy hypnotist does not remove that suggestion. Person's driving home, Elvis comes on the radio, they start dancing.
Well, that suggests to me, as the front page of Today would say, deadly.
What it suggests to me is that it needs to be more stringently checked out to make sure that people abide by the 1952 Hypnotism Act, 1989 government guidelines. If shows go ahead that are ruled by those laws and guidelines, the hypnotist then has got to make sure these suggestions are removed. As long as they are removed, there is no possible danger whatsoever.
OK, let's now go to our studio in Manchester. There is Margaret Harper. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret's daughter Sharon died just 5 hours after being hypnotised in a nightclub. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
It does, though, have to be said, Margaret, right from the outset here, that the coroner failed to find a connection between your daughter's death and the fact that she was hypnotised. You disagree, though?
I totally disagree with that finding. Obviously, the coroner didn't look into Sharon's death well enough, in our opinion. It's strange that Sharon automatically felt ill straight after being hypnotised. She'd never been ill in her life at all. And 5 hours after being hypnotised, she was dead.
What would you say then, Margaret, about the power people like Alex-Leroy have here at their fingertips?
Well, I've heard all sorts of different stories from many, many different hypnotists. They all have their own little corner that they obviously want to keep themselves quite safe in. We have hypnotists that are saying, yes, it is dangerous. We have hypnotists saying, no, it isn't dangerous. What I actually listen to, who I actually listen to, are the medical people. They seem to know more about hypnosis than these stage hypnotists.
Can I just put in, if you listen to the medical people, Margaret, why not listen to the coroner, the pathologist, Home Office reports, which said it was hard to rule out there was a link between hypnosis and the death of your daughter. However, upon further examination, we found there's no link whatsoever. And in fact, that she died through natural causing on inhaling her own vomit, which documented in the media and medical in the past, can happen through drinking, it can happen through drugs, it can happen through stress.
Alex, we've heard all sorts of different stories. It has been implicated
what
by
I'm saying
certain
is, if you listen to the medical people,
why
not listen to them?
That Sharon actually died because she was a drug addict. Sharon actually died because she'd got a brain tumour.
Right, so you're going to get lots of different things said, but let me make my point.
I'm not here to argue with you, Alex.
No, but
all I'm saying is that your campaign is driven by emotion, not logic.
No, it is not. When you receive hundreds and hundreds of different phone calls from traumatic cases after volunteers have been hypnotised and then they've found themselves completely unwell immediately after, not only physically unwell but psychologically unwell, we are handling and dealing with these cases continuously.
So, Margaret, you're becoming a focus then for these sort of complaints. You're hearing these more and more.
Exactly, we are. And this is what's causing us great distress. This is why we've actually lobbied Parliament so much to literally get to the point that we've managed to get to today.
Parliament are now, of course, going to review these guidelines. What sort of acts are you looking for to be banned? Is there, in your mind, any form of respectable hypnotism, or does it all need to be looked at?
No, I think the whole spectrum needs to be looked at, basically. What we would like in the beginning is to ban all forms of stage hypnosis. Let there be a public inquiry. Let the Parliament do what they have to do. Obviously, it's been kept in the dark since 1952. There hasn't been any new laws brought into Parliament since, and I think this is a very old act, whether or not, and it hasn't been policed at all.
Well, Margaret, thank you very much indeed for your comments. Talking about old acts is not what you guys all do, making people pretend they're chickens and whatever, run around stage and fall off. Is that not an old act? I mean, you of course, are much riskier, risque in every sense of the word. You're much more adult. What is the difference between what you do and what the more established guys on television do?
There's 3 points I'd like to make. Point number 1, as well as doing the most outrageous show in certainly Europe, if not the world, called Erotic Hypnotics, which has been well documented in the press.
Is that ethical?
It is completely legal what I do. I do everything within the laws. I make sure those people are well informed before that if they come to that show, stay away if easily offended. Those just the same as, is it ethical for Chubby Brown to tell jokes? There's that argument.
Okay, point 1.
But I do family shows as well. Point 2, what makes me different from Paul McKenna? I suppose very much. I tend to. Is more based on situations that probably couldn't occur. Total imagination. That could never happen
he
in
is
your
the
life.
acceptable, if you like, or respectable face of this business.
If you want to put it that way, fine. It's a matter of personal choice and taste. Some people would say that I'm the respectable side. I prefer to do things that people might do in the privacy of their own home.
Third point quickly.
And third point quickly is the saying they should have tighter guidelines. I totally agree with that. I think they should also have tighter guidelines on television. For example, they don't allow the hypnotic induction to be shown, but they still allow Paul McKenna to say the word sleep on television. Anyone that's been hypnotised before by a professional hypnotist like myself can very easily, with one word, sleep, go to sleep. And I'm sure there's some people out there that have been hypnotised before that have. If there's anyone watching who's got someone in the room that's gone under a hypnotic trance, and I'm sure there will be, phone GMTV and I might wake them up later.
And here's another clip of me defending stage hypnosis on British television. Remember, I'm only just 18 years of age here and I'm holding my own on live television to millions of people. I've been there, done it, worn out the t-shirt numerous times.
Well, the government has announced a review of the law covering stage hypnotism acts as alarming reports of possible side effects dominate the headlines. Is there, as has been claimed, a real risk that simply taking part could damage your health? And what about hypnotism used for medical purposes? Are people at risk there as well? Well, we're joined by stage hypnotist Alex-Leroy and Professor David Marks from the Department of Health Psychology at Middlesex University. Thank you both very much indeed for coming in. Okay. Professor Marks, if I could start with you. I mean, how do these hypnotic acts, in your experience, work?
Well, you get a group of people very keen to participate coming up from the audience who obviously wish to be hypnotised and would like to have an enjoyable evening out and entertain themselves and their friends. And I would think that, roughly speaking, 95% of the time they're not actually hypnotised. But there is a risk, isn't there, of about 1 in 20 or so becoming hypnotised and being mixed up with all these other people that are out to have a good time.
And are they the people at risk, the ones who actually have genuinely gone into a trance?
Yes, I think they could be at risk if they are vulnerable at that particular time, have certain thoughts or feelings about events which
and why
relate up.
Why are they then at risk? Because obviously people are put under hypnosis, quite regularly for all sorts of reasons. Why are they at risk if they're in a trance?
Well, the vast majority of the time they would not be at risk if the person knew what they were doing. But there could be cases, perhaps 1 in 1,000, who knows, where they could be quite vulnerable to various things happening afterwards.
And are they not brought out of this trance, or not perhaps taken care of properly because the hypnotist thinks, that they're like the rest of them, just having a good time?
There isn't any real danger of people not being brought out of trances. It's more a case of people being given post-hypnotic suggestions, which they then act out.
Now, some of these, we've heard of a woman who died. It hasn't been proven that it was the hypnosis that did it, but symptoms such as headaches, depression.
It wasn't a hypnosis.
Well, hang on a second. Headaches, depression, panic attacks, and even the desire to commit suicide. Are those symptoms that you would expect from hypnosis for particularly vulnerable people?
Yes, if a person was already suicidal or very depressed and went up on stage and was given certain suggestions which triggered off even deeper emotions, then of course there could be an increased risk for those people.
Right. Okay, well, Alex, your turn. You're a stage hypnotist. I mean, do you accept any of the professor's remarks there?
Not in the way that he's saying. There are dangers with stage hypnosis. There's dangers with comedy shows, there's dangers with music shows.
Except that in hypnosis, I mean, if you are hypnotised, you're sort of, if you like, out of control.
I don't believe that anyone, Paul McKenna, Andrew Newton, myself, I don't believe any hypnotist has ever hypnotised anybody. There is no such thing as hypnosis as...
So you're debunking your own profession?
Not in the way that this gentleman is trying to put it across. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, it's cooperation. In two senses. You get the people that want to take part for the fun of it, that are not hypnotised. Hypnotised is a totally misleading word in itself. It comes from the Greek word meaning sleep. It's nothing to do with sleep.
So what do you do up there on stage? I mean, are your participants, as far as you're concerned, in a hypnotic trance?
Again, you come to everyone has this misconception of what a hypnotic trance is. Those people that I've got on stage, I are in a state where basically the only difference from the way you are now is that their eyes are closed, they're very relaxed. The only thing they're really concentrating on is perhaps the music or the sound of my voice. And basically just it removes some of the inhibitions.
So, I mean, is there a risk? I mean, these people, I mean, there's genuine concerns. This has been brought up in Parliament, you know, there has been a death. Now, again, it hasn't been proved that it was linked to the show, but the people involved in investigating it believe that it has. No. These people have complained about feelings of suicide, depression and headaches. I mean, is there a risk as far as you're concerned?
Before I say whether there's a risk, can I just point out that the coroner's report, Home Office report, all expert witness reports said initially it's hard not to rule out a link between hypnosis and the death of Sharon Taban. However, upon further examination, we've decided unequivocally there is no link whatsoever to the hypnotic state, and Sharon Taban died of natural causes, inhaling her own vomit, which, from my own comment, is something that can happen quite easily through drinking too much, taking drugs, and stress, the kind of stress that might be caused with a row with your own husband 2 hours before, which happened with Sharon.
Well, nonetheless, I mean, these accusations are being made, and it's damaging, isn't it, for your profession? I mean, would you like to see some, perhaps, tougher safeguards brought in to ensure that, you know, cowboy hypnotists aren't sort of going around the country doing these shows and perhaps possibly putting people at risk?
I'd certainly like to see the people out there who one day they were a plumber or whatever, and the next day they're a hypnotist because they read a Paul McKenna book, but out of business. And I'd like tighter guidelines laid down by the government whereby it does protect people. As far as it damaging the industry, I've found that since all this bad publicity, I'm getting more people going to my shows. It's down to personal choice. If people want to come to these shows, they will. If they want to take part, it's up to them.
Professor Marks, just a very briefly, last comment to you. Do you think there should be tougher guidelines?
Yes, I do. I think there are quite a few cowboys and cowgirls out there who do need some controls.
Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
I also have a unique perspective on what hypnotherapy and stage hypnosis and hypnosis is in general. I clearly state hypnosis does not exist. In fact, hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer. It's pure suggestion, emotional and psychological manipulation. However, I say it's more powerful than most hypnotists realise, and that you can indeed make people say and do things that totally contradict their morals and their values. Hence, in 2019, I released my documentary Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis to the World. Take a look at the trailer for that. Films absorb you. You look at the big screen, you almost become involved in it. So we're in Canary Wharf. They're lending out more than they've actually got, so it's all an illusion.
They promoted a concept called social turbulence, creating constant crises within society, creating constant trauma within the members of that society, so that they're overwhelmed.
If you give them the illusion of choice, they think they're living in a freedom world. The London HQ for Rupert Murdoch's media publication. But then it was suggested that they get some cocaine for him or something.
Is do not roll out 5G until we understand these mechanisms.
The British Brainwashing Corporation. It's covered by a royal charter here in England, which means that it's supposed to be impartial in things like politics.
Make America great again. What is America? What is America? Is it a corporation? Is it California? Is it New York?
The Houses of Parliament, this is where the circus is run in England. Religions are like everything else, a control system to make you do what other people want you to do.
It always tends to be the musicians, giving it the eye symbols, giving it the Illuminati symbols in videos and stuff like that.
The Tavistock Institute and the British Psychological Society on a back street in London, in the middle of nowhere apparently, seems all very innocent. Escapism from everyday life, just like the television in the corner of your room, because they've been brainwashed. nearly 2 decades ago now, Channel 5 television in England put the challenge to me. They said, can you really make people say and do things against their will? And I went, yeah, why? And they said, well, we'd like you to hypnotise people and get them to reveal their confidential banking PIN codes and computer passwords. Now, there's magical trick ways of doing this. The magicians and mentalists do, but they wanted real mind control, and I did hypnotise people. Now, the clip that follows shows that, but it doesn't show it in full. It gives the impression I got about 1.5 out of 3 right. The truth is, I got all of them right because afterwards I hypnotised the people again to forget that they told me their information. They just didn't broadcast all of that. That's one of the things with television that's pre-recorded, and I learnt it the hard way. You've got to have your contract rights, so you get editorial control over what goes out. Otherwise they can delete things or edit things to make things look worse than they were, or to leave things out, as they did here. Actually, I managed to get everyone to reveal their passwords in a manner where at the end of it, they ended up not recalling having given them me because of hypnosis.
An unfortunate side effect of our increasing use of computers and the internet is that everything we do seems to require a password. Online banking? New password, please. Email account? Likewise. Want to buy something? Then enter your details and choose a password. And that's on top of all the passwords you need for computers and email at work. These passwords are the front door key to everything. Our money, our credit card details, our little secrets, our company's future product development plans, whatever. But they're not a very secure key. For a start, it requires a monumental feat of mental gymnastics to remember them all. So we all come up with shortcuts like using the same ones or writing them down and hiding them. And people seem ready to surrender their passwords in return for the smallest of treats.
Tell me what your passwords are in exchange for this box of chocolates.
I use my nicknames.
So you won't tell me them at all?
You've got to tell him.
Tell him.
Tell him.
Yes, Ferrari.
It's called Spartacus. Spartacus.
Okay, well, that's hard. Dolly Dimple.
Dolly Dimple, that's lovely.
Can I have the chocolate?
Yeah,
Yeah. Creamy.
Creamy, lovely.
Holly.
Holly.
If I do my bank form, you won't rob me, will you?
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, bye-bye, Dolly Dimple.
Naturally, the people working in the gadget show office wouldn't give up their passwords so easily, but that still doesn't mean they're safe. We asked 3 of our finest employees to think of a password each. We wanted to see whether it was easier to discover them by hacking into their minds or their computers. To achieve this, we brought in a hypnotist, Jonathan Royle, who tried to find out by hypnotising them all, and top security expert Dave Duke, who would use his technical skills on their computers. First up, Karen. She knows we're trying to discover her secret password, but will she play hard to get?
Just close your eyes and just sleep. John's going to ask you 3 questions. This will be the same question 3 times, namely, what is your password? The first 2 times that he asks you this question, you will blatantly lie. The 3rd time, you'll find you've got an overwhelming desire to tell him, and you'll feel really, really good about it. Wakey, rise and shine. John?
Karen, what's your password?
Karen.
I didn't believe that. Karen, what's your password?
John.
I didn't believe that either. So let's try the 3rd time. Karen, what's your password?
Gadgets 8.
Sleep. Relax deeper. Wakey, rise and shine.
Karen was genuinely unaware that she'd revealed her correct password to us. But would our security expert find it out so easily?
Karen, this is Dave. You just need to have a look at your computer for a second. You don't mind it?
In fact, he was retrieving a device he'd fitted on the back of Karen's computer while she'd been away from her desk.
Thank you. So tell me what exactly you put on Karen's computer.
Well, this is a little digital device which actually records keystrokes as people type them directly from the keyboard, as you can see.
Yeah.
And it can store 65,000 letters inside it. And you can put it in, leave it running for a month, a year, collect all the information that you need, pop back in, take it out, stick it back in your own system.
Right. And then?
Very simply, by just running up a simple notepad program and typing in a secret word, you can now see that it's actually displaying, this was a password, Gadgets 8.
Gadgets 8?
Logging onto a system.
So that's our...
This is the website that she went to buy something from.
Ah.
This was her logging name for her credit card details. This was her password. and that's her credit card number.
So we've got 2 lots of passwords and her credit card number, just off this thing that costs how much?
$50.
Worrying stuff, but now it was Jess's turn. Our hypnotist had asked her to write out her real password as well as 4 incorrect ones. And he hoped to discover which was the real one by studying her body language.
Okay, wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Have you got that list you made earlier?
I have, yes.
Right, I'm just going to ask you in turn, is this your password? And for each one, I want you to say yes. Now that means you'll be lying 4 times and once you're going to be telling the truth. Jess, is your password Jessica1?
Yes.
Is your password Gadget Show?
Yep.
Is your password Jess is Wicked?
Yep.
Is your password North One TV?
Yes.
Is your password Television 1?
Yes.
I'm going to gamble on this, but off body language, I would opt for
one
that.
there. Okay.
Which is Jessie's Wicked.
Thanks.
Thanks.
But no.
But no, what's it?
It was the last one.
It was the last one. Television 1. That just goes to prove how good a liar you are.
So Jess has resisted hypnosis, but can she protect her password from our technology expert? Next, we're going to see how vulnerable Jess's password would be to a dictionary attack. That's where hackers try and crack into a computer system using a special program that contains a massive number of passwords that are tried very quickly, one after the other. Right, Dave, what do we need to do?
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put a password into this tool and it's going to check, using a hacking technique, how quick it's going to take to break. So just type your password in, press the check password button, cracked it. In less than a second, the hacker would have got that password and have been into your system.
What would we need to do to make it more secure?
You need to really add random letters and numbers and other information into it so that your password isn't a real word, so that people can't use a dictionary, troll the passwords and find out what it is. And if we do that with this password...
let's try a new one.
Excellent. A hacker wouldn't have been able to use a dictionary attack on that.
So just a few seconds extra thought on your password and makes it much more difficult.
Indeed.
With Jess now in possession of a more secure computer, it's time to see if James can protect his password. James proved resistant to hypnosis, so Jonathan was forced to try another technique. He asked James to write out his password and then set fire to it in front of me. Now he'll attempt to guess it by studying James typing it out on an imaginary keyboard.
This is what I got. I got PAPERCL number 0 P. I've got paper clock. Now, are we anywhere near?
You're 80% right. 1 letter's wrong and you're 1 character missing.
In fact, Jonathan had used a trick. By writing out his password, James had made it vulnerable to Jonathan's sleight of hand, despite it appearing to be destroyed. Right, let's try the technological approach. We're going to access James's PC remotely. Using widely available software, we're going to hack into his computer and get an exact copy of his computer screen on ours, and we're also going to log all his keystrokes. And our computer expert could do this from anywhere in the world. So James, type in the password, please.
Okay, so we'll have a look here, keystrokes, and we can see he's typed paperclip. This little symbol means the shift key and 1, so shift 1, which is exclamation mark, so his password's paperclip, exclamation mark.
Paperclip, exclamation mark.
Yep, that's it.
What else can you do?
Right, what we can also do is we can actually go and have a look in real time at his system. This is exactly what he's doing second by second. Right. So we can see at the moment he's browsing a website, pointing his cursor. But on top of that, we can actually go and take information directly from his system. So here, we're actually looking at his webcam. We've taken a photograph of him sat at his desk. We've got evidence that this is him at his desk, this is the website that he was actually looking at the time, and we know exactly what he was typing.
The results prove that while some of our team may be able to resist hypnosis, their passwords and much more besides would all be vulnerable to a serious computer hacker.
My experience of the media, television, radio, newspaper, magazines around the world is not just as a comedy stage hypnotist and hypnotherapist, or from my time as a psychic clairvoyant or magician or circus clown. It's also that I ran a thing called KMA Public Relations, which stood for Kiss My Arse. Public Relations, where I helped other people get television, radio, newspaper and magazine publicity around the world, whatever their act or talent or business. And from that I learned from the inside how the media work. And along the way I also became Britain's and probably Europe's biggest ever media prankster, with a number of stories, disguises and outrageous television appearances like this one.
Now, of all the statistics we've featured on this show, this must be the most startling. Your belly button could be harbouring more than 2,000 different species of bacteria. I rest my case. Don't touch it.
Once you've got over the shock of that, although if it's always been like that, and we seem to be surviving perfectly
Yes, I
well,
know.
nothing to worry about, it could also be harbouring the secrets of your past, present and future, allegedly. And because we love an alternative psychic reading on this show, good morning, Ali Ross, we thought we'd have a little bit of that.
We're joined now by foot reader Jane Sheenham.
But in this case, orange is wanting
That's
to be the
me.
life and soul of the party.
Oh, yes, that's me.
Toes don't go up in a nice, even line. They're a bit higgledy-piggledy.
Bit like me teeth, just one of me 5 a
So
day.
just- Oh, my goodness me.
Oh, my lord.
Something is coming into your life. Could be anything.
Thanks for being so precise.
Read my bottom.
I get a feeling that you're quite
You can touch.
emotional.
You are allowed to touch, by the way, if you want to.
So is your left bottom your past and your right butt cheek the future?
Yes. Very sensitive, and I would say always quite emotional at times. One of these people that you would take the heart and soul of the party.
We've had some nonsense.
Haven't we just? Right, here to talk us through what your belly button could be saying about you is Jonathan Royle. Hello.
Hi.
Where does this come from, then?
Right, I'll be totally honest with you. This all started as a joke and a gimmick to attract people to my stand when I was doing psychic fairs at the age of 14, doing tarot reading.
Right.
Because I'd read something in a book on the Native American Indians. They have a belief system called shamanism. And within that, they say there's 7 energy points in your body. Now, one of them that's most popularly known is the third eye, and people say it's in the centre of your head. And the other one is, well, one of the other 7 is around where your belly button is, and it's called the base chakra. And it occurred to me that if there's this theory, like with psychometry, where you hold someone's jewellery and you're tapping into the energy, that surely if you could get closer to somebody's energy, that you'd be able to tap into that. And what better place than being able to stick your finger in
You say
somebody's
there are
belly button?
6 different types
7.
of belly buttons. 7?
Oh, sorry, 6 types of belly button, 7 energy points in the body.
OK.
So, right.
What are the different types of belly button?
Have we got...
Yes,
I
of
think,
course.
believe we've got some images now. It is generalised because everyone tends to have elements of more than one. But generally speaking, you've got the horizontal, so it's sort of oblongy from left to right.
Which means what?
Tends to indicate someone who's very down to earth. They can be quite a complex thinker and an analytical type of person.
OK, the next one is the vertical navel.
And the clue is there, it's pointing upwards towards the person's head, so it tends to indicate someone who can be headstrong, and when they've made their mind up, they can actually cut the nose off to spite the face, even when they know something's wrong.
Can I just say something? My belly button has changed shape since I've had a baby. Does that mean my personality has too?
Good question.
That is a very good question. It tends to be a reflection of who you are. It's not necessarily how other people see you, it's who you truly are inside. And we're all constantly throughout our lives are changing our personality to some extent based on what's gone on in our life.
So yes.
So yeah.
OK, the next one, outie.
Outie. It's pointing out, it's going out, it's outgoing, it's extroverted. Generally speaking, the more it sticks out, the more extroverted
Bearing
you
in
are.
mind that this was decided when your umbilical cord was
OK, now
cut.
people say this, hang on, well, it's all to do how your umbilical cord's cut. Well, if you believe in fate and stuff, everything happens for a reason, in which case it happened in a certain manner that would fit you. During the Performing Hypnosis event, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get yourself on television and radio shows, in newspapers, magazines, featured on podcast, how to therefore get more clients for your therapy business or for your stage hypnosis business, how to increase your fees, and things that are guaranteed to work so that you can never fail in those situations, and things that you can also apply to your live shows as
well. I'm uniquely placed for the various reasons I've just mentioned. What follows now is another clip from an ITV late night show called Talk of the Town, where I hypnotise people for National No Smoking Day. That's one of the tips. Tie yourself in with national event days and leverage that to get media coverage.
Hypnotist. Charlatans, a lot of them. I went to Hypnotist once, came out, convinced I was some kind of loser, overweight with bad hair. Now, it's National No Smoking Day this week, and Jonathan Royle, Hypnotist to the Stars, has offered to help a few members of our audience with giving up smoking. Is that right, Jonathan?
Yeah, basically, these three gentlemen here, we've done some
preparatory
work with them early.
Let's have a look at what happened earlier.
What we're going to do is try and help you stop smoking. Place your hands out in front of you like so.
Sleep, you can stand, you can stand. Wait, you can stand, you will not fall when you wake up, you'll be your normal self. Wake you rise and shine. Just sleep for now, sleep eyes remaining tightly closed. When I wake you up, you'll take your seat back at the stage, but before you do, you'll realise the person in front of you isn't the woman of your dreams, is horrible, smelly pervert, but you will not become violent. Wake you, rise and shine.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Royle, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, this next clip's going to say that I was 18 years old. I wasn't. It was January 1993. It was just over 30 years ago. This appeared on British Channel 4 television, cult TV show called The Word on Channel 4. These are clips that have come out of a 1 hour show, just the hypno bits put together, but there were major celebrities of the day on the same show. This was a real big deal, and at the time when I appeared alongside world famous stage hypnotist Peter Powers, a good friend of mine, I was only 17 years of age. They lied about my age, God knows why. And the thing is, this opened many doors to me. It got me residencies at high-class celebrity nightclubs, and, well, it kickstarted my career 30 years ago. Massively, and from there things snowballed, and I'm going to tell you how to harness the power of the media during the Performing Hypnosis Summit online, Saturday the 11th, Sunday 12th of March 2023. The links above or below this video. There's a whole bunch of other amazing speakers on there as well, but I tell you, my section alone's worth way more the tiny investment of attending and getting the recordings of this event. Check out these clips that follow. I'll be with you in a moment. I was just 17. Live to millions of people on TV.
It's shaming people with extreme stage antics like this that has given Peter Powers the title of Britain's wildest hypnotist. Powers holds the world record for high-speed hypnosis, putting 12 people into a trance in 60 seconds. At 27, he's no longer the youngest, but is he still king of the watch swingers? Tonight's challenger for the world's hippest hypnotist is Alex-Leroy. The son of Tizzy the Clown and Marianne Montana the sharpshooting cowgirl, Alex started his showbiz career at the age of 3 as Flap the Clown. By 8, he'd done his first hypnotism. Now, aged 18, he's Britain's youngest mind bender, and he claims the most manipulative.
Alex, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you. And Peter, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. Now, I'll explain exactly what's been going on. Earlier on, a football team of 15 for each side was taken into a room, and these two boys applied their crafts, and we've got the 4 most susceptible people from each football team. They are all volunteers. There's nothing unethical or impropriety going on at all, is there? That's right. It's completely down the line. So we're going to have a quick taste now of exactly what they're going to be doing later on, and then we're going to have the full... later on. So, Alex, if you want to start, show us exactly what you can do.
As soon as I say 1, 2, wide awake, you'll all be instantly wide awake. You're at a football match, but instead of football players, there are 30 naked women on the pitch. You can also see everyone in the audience of the opposite sex in the nude, and the more noise you make, the more sexual things they'll do to you. 1, 2, wide awake, everybody! That's it, the more noise you make, the more sexual things they'll do to you.
That's enough, and that's just a taste, unfortunately, of what's going to come. Peter, do you want to show us what you can do on your side?
When I count to 3, you'll be wide awake, and you'll be wide awake. Every single word that you try to speak will come out in Chinese, much to your surprise. When I count to 3, you'll be awake, and every word you try to speak, you will come out with a stutter, a terrible pronounced stutter. You've always stuttered, so it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, you can wake up, lads. Are we going to win the match tonight? How many goals are you going to score?
2.
Are we going to win tonight, lads? Are you going to win? How many goals are you going to score? Oh, shut up.
That's another that. That's far too humiliating. Well, I'm not totally convinced myself, but on the other hand, I'm not going to look into their eyes because it's a bit too scary. So let's see what they can do later on. Terry. Welcome to the first round of the Battle of the Hypnotists, and we've brought in, at great personal expense, our celebrity judge, Katie Puckrick, who's going to be adjudicating. And not a big round of applause either, was there? Come on. For flip's sake.
So I'm the celebrity.
Yeah, just for tonight.
Mark, you must be hard up. You know
Who's going to be the winner tonight? Who's the force going to be with? Is it going to be Lord of the Trance, Peter Powers, or is it going to be the young pretender? Oh, it looks like it is, by the way, he's getting something there. Alex-Leroy. Now, I'll introduce the teams, because I didn't introduce them earlier. These are the William Stevens Football Club from Dudley. And on this side, we've got the Shaolin Sports and Social Club from Southampton. And I must stress that all these people are volunteers. They're all over 18. So for the first round, I'm going to give you a minute actually this time, Peter. So take it away. Show us what you can do.
They played very well in the first half, at least these 3 have anyway, and I'm going to reward them with an apple. When I can't, in fact, hold your hand out ready for your fruit. Hold your hand out ready for your fruit. As soon as I put it into your hand, you'll open your eyes, and there you will see a delicious apple. It will feel, smell and taste just like the most delicious apple you've ever experienced. As soon as I put it into your hand, you can open your eyes, you can bite it, it will be delicious. You really enjoy it. As soon as I put the fruit in your hand, you can open your eyes and eat it. There's your apple. There's your apple. Take a nice big bite now. There's your apple. Take a nice big bite. Enjoy your apple. Open your eyes, you can eat it. You've not played very well at all. You have lost your concentration. And that's because somebody has stolen your willy. When I count to 3, you'll be wide awake and you'll realise that Mark has stolen your willy and he swapped it for his little teeny-weeny one, and you're bloody furious. You want it back. You really lose your temper. You'll not be violent. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake.
Mark, you bastard! Give it back! I want it back now! Give it back!
I think we'll leave it there, Peter. I think we'll leave it there. And in fact, the only reason I agreed to do this piece was if we dropped the willy bit. Well, I think you sneaked in with a few extra points, hadn't you, Peter? Alex, show us what you can do, and try and make it a little bit more tasteful if you could.
I'm only talking to you if I touch you on the shoulder. When you wake up, you've got a red card in your hand, and you're the referee at a football match. You've got to send the other players off because they've done something really awful. You won't accept any shit from them. You 3, when you wake up, you've been sent off, and you know it's the end of your career if you get sent off, so you're going to plead and beg, and you really don't want to be sent off. 1, 2, wide awake, everybody, wide awake.
How many times have I got to tell you? You have no one! Get off, I'll just find you.
Sleep. When you wake up, you're a really apologetic referee. You're really apologetic. Sleep and stand.
Award points for this, what do you reckon?
Well, that seemed a little bit like amateur dramatics, but I was quite
It seemed like a normal load of drunken footballers, didn't it, really?
But I was pretty impressed with the onion eating, although that might be something that they like to do in the privacy of their own home.
How many points for each side? I think you mean Peter's in the lead.
Yeah, Peterson. I did like that little showdown, though, with the
little willy bit.
The schlonging.
Yeah, all right, we'll leave that. We're going to come back for the finals of that in the next part of the show.
Points.
No, we're talking about points later on.
What kind of points?
Coming up, Eskimos and Egypt, and Madonna will be joining Terry on the couch. See you later. Welcome back to round 2 of the Battle of the Hypnotists. Katie, come round. So far, Peter's in the lead. Peter scored no points, actually, because we didn't award any points last time, but he's well in the lead. Alex is trailing behind. Better point out, all these people are volunteers. They all said, yes, we'll do it, but they are all drunken football players, so that would explain a few things. This side are from Dudley, this side are from Southampton, and... Ray. That's a lot of people from Southampton are called Ray, apparently. But anyway, Alex, if you want to get going, you've got a minute to show us what you can do for the final round.
It's a cold winter's morning, just sleep, relax. It's a cold winter's morning, you're asleep, snuggle up to the person next to you. It's a cold winter's morning, snuggle up to the person next to you. You're in love with the person next to you. That's it, snuggle up to the person next to you. It's a cold winter's morning. Now, when you wake up, you wonder what the hell you've been doing. You'll have a sore ass, you'll have an erection, and you two will have a funny taste in the mouth. You'll wonder what the hell you've been doing. 1, 2, wide awake, everybody. Oh, my ass. Sleep. OK, just sleep, relax, breathe deeply, sleep. OK, now, everybody, we haven't got any music, so do you all know the stripper? The louder you do that, the more clothes these people are going to take off. When I wake them up, okay, the louder you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the Chippendales. You've seen Adonis. Tonight we have for you. And you will be the world's greatest strippers and take off more and more clothes the more they sing. But you'll keep one item of clothing on you. You all must do. You keep your shoes on. That'll be all right. Everybody, 1, 2, wide awake! The more noise they make, the more you take off. The more noise they make, the more you take off. That's it, take it all off. That's it, the more you scream, shout, sing.
Alex, we'll leave it there, that's more than enough. And I would like to apologise on behalf of the world for some of the more homophobic lines just used by Alex there. Stop that, and Peter, your turn.
The match is finished. The match is finished, and you feel all hot and sweaty. You'd like nothing more than to get into a nice bath. When I count to 3, you'll be wide awake, and right in front of you see a bath full of clear water and your favourite shampoo. You're going to climb in, you're going to enjoy it, and have a very nice bath. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake. There's your bath. When I count to 3, you'll wake up. And I forgot what I was going to do with then, so I'm not going to do it. Now, actually, the final goal has been scored. The final goal has been scored. You're going to celebrate, throw your arms around them, kiss them and cuddle them, just like they do when they win the final goal. And Mark Lamar has scored it. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake.
That's all right, that's all right. Some of us rise above that. Okay, can we bring him out of it now?
Wide awake, you'll wonder what the hell you're doing. You will not splash beans around, you'll take it very calmly. 1, 2, 3, wide awake.
All our contestants this evening are over 18, though some of them probably act like this anyway. If you want to come down, Peter, if you want to come down for the final judging, I hope neither of you win, because you both got on my nerves immensely. But anyway, Katie, have you decided who's going to win?
Well, I was just intrigued, I have to say, Mark, by the fact that these gentlemen here actually did get erections when they were hypnotised. I was looking very closely, although I have to say that I went for the razzle-dazzle of the onion eating and the baked bean bathing. So my award goes...
Have you got a prize?
Oh, well, under my kill... I didn't have any... I have a watch fob for you.
It's a very, very cheap one. But anyway, congratulations there, Peter. Peter, you're still the king.
Treasure it for the rest of my life.
Well, we want it back, actually. But anyway, thanks a lot.
Personally, I'd like to thank you for that wonderful show that you had them put on for us.
Oh, it was disgusting. Anyway, over to you, Terry.
So when I say I'm uniquely placed to tell you about the positives and negatives of the media, I truly am, because in 1998 I set out to expose Rupert Murdoch, the media mogul's dishonest, unethical journalist Mazza Mahmood, aka the fake sheikh. He has fabricated stories against royalty, famous names, including me, which is all explained at circusofthemind.net. You can learn more there. However, this brief clip from BBC Television's flagship news show, Newsnight, from 2016, when Mazza Mahmood was jailed for conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, explains a little bit more.
Friday night and time for Newsnight now on BBC Two with James O'Brien.
Once undercover, now under lock and key. Fake Sheikh Mazza Mahmood is jailed for 15 months for tampering with evidence in the collapsed drugs trial of pop star Talisa. And as questions are raised about more trials where he provided evidence, Newsnight speaks to victims of some of his other stings.
I can't describe what it was like from the moment that the judge said, send him down. Your mind plays tricks on you. It was a living nightmare.
We'll ask one of the tabloid's best-known victims if the press still needs to clean up its act. Good evening. The Sun's leader column today was as moralistic as it was unequivocal. Reporters are paid to find stories and check facts. They don't always get it right, but they take pride in trying. Somewhat strange, then, that when it came off the presses this morning, their Sunday edition star reporter, a man already proven to manufacture stories and invent his own facts, was still on the payroll. He isn't anymore. Mazza Mahmood, the so-called fake sheikh of tabloid law, is in jail tonight after receiving a 15-month sentence for conspiring to pervert the course of justice in a case involving the singer Tulisa Contostavlos. That worthy editorial homily, by the way, referred to tweets about refugees posted yesterday by Gary Lineker and other celebrities. The newspaper found no room at all for Mahmood's misdemeanours. John Sweeney has spent the day with 4 victims of those stings who were at the Old Bailey to see that sentence handed down.
Here is the fake sheikh in his pomp working for the news of the world. And here he is, bringing down London's burning star John Alford. The actor served 9 months for supplying drugs. Today, the boot was on the other foot. Mazza Mahmood got 15 months for perverting the course of justice when yet another showbiz sting, this time against pop star Tulisa, went wrong. Mazza Mahmood was once one of Britain's most feared journalists. Now he's on his way to prison, and it's time for his victims to have their say. These people have one thing in common. Their lives were wrecked by the fake sheikh. Stage hypnotist Jonathan Royle says he was stitched up by Mahmood when he got 6 months in prison for giving the reporter fake coins.
I can't describe, but it was like from the moment that the judge said, send him down. Your mind plays tricks on you. It was a living nightmare. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Well, I was put on suicide watch in strange ways. I slept for weeks in prison, fully clothed, scared that what you see in films might happen. People have now started to see that what I've been saying for the past 18.5 years actually is true. The man is a liar.
Another scalp, former world champion boxer Herbie Hyde, who got 22 months for supplying drugs.
Mahmood had so much evidence, so much which he created himself. Like he said, I sent him a text saying that I wrote him a text saying that I've got the cocaine and the match fixing. I cannot spell cocaine. Nevertheless, match fixing. I can't spell them words. Prison, I cried every day. And I thought in prison, I might as well kill myself if I want to put this thing to my family. You know?
Proud of you.
You know what I'm saying?
You're vindicated.
So that was how I felt. I thought I might as well end it.
Another victim, Emma Morgan. Emma, you didn't go to prison. You were a page-free girl. What effect did Mazza Mahmood's journalism have on you?
Basically, because of the story that went out about me, I lost my home, I lost my job. It wasn't just a job, it was a career. And a career that I think I would have done very well at, and it would have lasted quite a long time. He stole that from me.
A fourth scalp, John Alford. His career ended in 1999 after Mahmood's sting.
It was very convenient for the police. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act was put in place to protect us from unscrupulous police officers. They had a very, very, very cosy relationship with the press because they can use lies, trickery and deceit to get a story, which they call subterfuge. Very convenient for them, very damning for us.
Their solicitor is calling for an inquiry, and she's damning about the conduct of the Metropolitan Police.
Corrupt.
Corrupt.
Absolute corruption.
Corrupt is a heavy word.
It is, and what was going on was very heavy and very serious, but we have evidence of that. I hope finally people will listen to what these men have been saying all along. And I would stress this, there isn't one of those convictions that Mahmoud sustained has not been tainted by his behaviour. Not one.
The reporter's victims plan to sue News UK in the civil courts. Today, the company said they would fight those cases and that Mahmoud had led scores of successful investigations during his 25-year career with the company, which had led to the exposure of criminality and wrongdoing.
For the likes of us and the other people that he stung, I certainly don't feel justice has been done, do you?
Not really.
No.
No.
No. And as far as not wishing it on my worst enemy, I'm more than happy that Mazen Mahmoud is now sat there, quaking in his boots, wondering what's going to happen to him in jail. I'd like to be a fly on the wall.
The question now is, why did the authorities let these people suffer for so long?
Well, joining us now via Skype from France is Max Mosley, the former Formula One boss who was himself the subject of a sting by the News of the World. Since then, he has, of course, campaigned for stronger regulation of the press. Mr Mosley, the somewhat laughable defence now at the beginning of the phone hacking scandal was that it was one rogue reporter. Do you think that actually that description might apply in this case?
Well, I think very much so. The problem is that news group newspapers, which is The Sun, News of the World, those sort of newspapers, they've been shown to be a criminal enterprise. And now the number one criminal in that group is Mahmoud, has been shown to be exactly what he is. Now, what's absolutely essential from all of this is that we have Leveson Part 2, which is the second part of the Leveson inquiry, to look at the relationship between the police and the press, and particularly news group newspapers. That relationship was utterly corrupt, and just one example of that is that when, I think the third or fourth investigation into the Daniel murder Morgan was underway, a chief superintendent of Scotland Yard was put under surveillance by a criminal working for the News of the World, using a News of the World van for the surveillance purposes. Now, it's extraordinary that in a civilised society there was no comeback, no investigation into that. Scotland Yard just did nothing. And now the time has come when this has got to stop, and we've got to show that the police, we've got to expose those elements in the police which are responsible for a really very corrupt system.
You'll be aware that Leveson 2 was effectively cancelled by the last Culture Secretary, John Whittingdale. Are you suggesting it might be revivified by this case?
I think it has to be, because we either accept that we've got a corrupt police force with a very corrupt relationship with a major newspaper group. We either accept that and say, well, that's okay, that's fine in England, we'll let that happen. Or we have Leveson 2 and we look into it in detail and root out the elements that were responsible for this. Because personally, I don't want to live in a country where that sort of thing can go on, and I don't think most people do.
And you've spent just shy, I think, of £4 million on your own money on bankrolling an organisation that you hope would police this relationship. What sort of gives you the right to do that?
Well, first of all, that is not to police the relationship between the police and the press. That is to do with
the behaviour of the press.
I beg pardon?
To police the behaviour of the press.
Press, exactly. What we're talking about at the moment, and I'll come to that in a second.
We are short of time.
What we're talking about at the moment is the corrupt relationship between the press and the police, and that's a very serious matter. Now, a separate question is whether the press should have a regulator that actually looks at what they do, and an independent regulator. And I feel that we need such a regulator, and we particularly need one because if somebody has a case against the press at the moment, unless they're a millionaire, they can't bring it. Unless you can risk £1 million, you can't bring a case in the court. So Leveson 1, the first Leveson idea was that we should have an arbitral system so that if you have a complaint against the press, you go to cheap, inexpensive arbitration. It gets settled. If the press don't want to do that, if they want to go to expensive high court proceedings, well, then they pay. And what the press are doing is they're saying, oh, we've got to pay both sides of the case. But of course, what they're leaving out of that is that that's only if they don't agree to cheap arbitration. Now, access to justice is absolutely vital. 99% of the population can't afford to go to the High Court. In fact, when I said to Lewis in the inquiry...
I do understand that, Mr Mosley. We're very short of time. I want to ask you one more question with regard to Impress, the organisation that you're funding. It's fair to say that publishers haven't exactly beaten a path to your door, isn't it?
Well, certainly publishers like News Group newspapers...
Or anyone else, really.
No, well, the last thing they want, or the Daily Mail, just as bad as News Group newspapers, last thing they want is a proper regulator, and they will do everything in their power to make sure there isn't one. On behalf of the rest of the population, I'm going to do my best to see there is one.
You don't think IPSO is fit for purpose?
IPSO is not fit for purpose. It's completely controlled, financed, and under the thumb of the large newspapers, which really comes down to 4 individuals, 4 billionaires, actually all of them tax exiles living outside the UK, control 70% of the British press, and somebody calls that a free press. It's laughable.
But you think it should be effectively regulated by an organisation bankrolled by another very wealthy individual?
No, because the thing is, the fact that somebody pays for it, people have paid for things that the public need for all generations. That's a perfectly legitimate thing. The difference is I have no control whatsoever over Impress, the proposed new regulator, and no control whatsoever. All I do is provide a little bit of money. And that is something the public need. It's a public service. That's why it's charitable, and that's why it needs doing.
Max Mosley, many thanks indeed for your time.
So what you're waiting for? It's 2023. This year I complete my 45th year in show business because I'll be 48 and a half later this year, and I started performing at the age of 3 and a bit. I started doing magic shows professionally at the age of between the ages of 8 and 9. I was doing Contacting the Dead clairvoyant shows from my early teens. I was doing professional hypnotherapy for paid clients from the age of 14 in 1989. And I was doing comedy stage hypnosis shows and past life regression shows from 1990. And I was appearing on television around the world as a comedy stage hypnotist from January 1993. And since then I've had my own European television series, Life in the Bus Lane, which you can watch by going on magicalguru.com or on my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel. I've had my own 1-hour television special on German RTL TV. I've appeared on hundreds and hundreds of TV and radio shows around the world. I've had the front page on the biggest daily newspapers in England for curing somebody's fear of traffic wardens. Just a couple of weeks ago I was featured by Manchester Evening News, a massive regional newspaper in England, curing somebody's fear of dogs. For the past several decades, there's not a year gone by where I've not appeared on television, on the radio, in newspapers and magazines. So I know this inside out. And recently I was approached, because of my media experience, I'll explain more on the Performing Hypnosis Summit of how I secured this gig and how I've secured gigs performing for royalty in the Seychelles, performing for celebrities in Barbados and a whole bunch of other amazing once-in-a-lifetime gigs that many people only ever dream of, but I'm going to tell you how it could be possible for you. At the Performing Hypnosis Summit. You can get your tickets at the link above or below this. I'm going to play you out with video footage, some of the video footage, because there was more than this, of me taking part in a 3-part television programme that was filmed in Sweden and put together by the performance artist Andreas Jigsson. It's all explained on the Television Without Frontiers page on my website, magicalguru.com. Here it is. Enjoy it, and I'll see you at the Performing Hypnosis Summit on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of March 2023. My name's Jonathan Royle. Check out more of proof of my career success at Magical Guru, that's magicalguru.co.uk. Bye for now.
13 degrés, soleil, pas de vent. Dresde, 10 degrés, soleil.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for that wonderful reception. My name is Jonathan Royle. I'm your hypnotist this evening, but we are going to be looking for some volunteers to join us now. Just to explain for the viewers at home that in certain countries in the world, there are laws against broadcasting the full hypnotic induction process on television because they think people at home might be affected by it. So because of that, we've already done a little bit of proprietary work with some people who we're going to get up here and bring on stage. So give them a round of applause as they come and join the party right now. Walk this way, give them a huge round of applause. Take a seat, my darling. Take a seat wherever you would like. Be a little bit careful of the glitter. There we go. 2, 3, and I think that means you're sat over there. Excellent. Fantastic. I'm going to be talking to you if I touch you directly on the shoulder or if I indicate otherwise. Just so long as each and every one of you uses your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively. So with that in mind, I'd like you, sir, just to stand up, walk this way. Nice to meet you, sir. If you'd just like to stand just about there, feet together.
Feet together.
Hands by your side, tilt your head well back, take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. I'm going to count backwards from 3 down to 1. On the count of 1, you'll feel yourself falling gently backwards into my arms. You feel yourself falling gently backwards. 2, falling back. 1, and sleep, 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 sleep. Ooh, scared yourself then slightly. You feel woozy?
Yeah, I do actually.
You feel woozy?
I do.
That's okay. I'll tell you what, just take a seat there.
Yeah, I will.
Okay? Just take your hand. Nice deep breath in and just sleep. Let yourself go. Sleep, 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 sleep. Like excellent, like a loose, limp rag doll. Resting in the chair, eyes remaining tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. That was a bit odd, wasn't it? Don't worry, I'm not going to get you to stand up. That's all right. What's your name, darling?
Lina.
Leela.
Lina.
Lena. Oh, well, sleep, 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 sleep. You won't mind, I can't say your name. Drifting down, eyes remaining tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. Unless I say otherwise. Excellent. What I'd like you to do is just stare at my fingertip. The moment it taps you on the head, you can just go into a lovely, relaxing state. Keep your eyes on the finger. Ooh! Ooh! Sleep. Drifting down, sinking down, eyes remaining tightly closed. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. You two lovely ladies, if you'd just like to shake hands with each other, okay? That's time number 1. Now separate hands. This time a weird thing's going to happen. The moment you shake hands, both of you safely in your chairs can just allow yourself to go back to sleep. Shake your hands. Shake each other's hands and just sleep, 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 sleep. Drifting down, sinking down. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. This is an imaginary gun. It just works like a kind of hypnotic gun. Sleep, relax, drifting down, sinking down. And the sound of the audience applauding just helps you drift down deeper. We're going to try just a couple more things, step it up a bit before we kind of have a party at the end. So before we do, let's try this with, I'm only talking to you directly if I tap you on the shoulder. Only if I tap you on the shoulder. So I'm talking to this lady, and this gentleman, the 3 people I've just touched. In a few moments' time, when I awaken you, then and only then you'll open your eyes. And you'll realize that it's almost as if you've become an alien from outer space, from the planet Mars or from somewhere even further afield, and you speak fluent Martian or fluent whatever alien language it is on your planet. It's certainly not your normal language, it's alien language. Nod your heads if you understand. Excellent. The lady that I'm about to touch on the shoulder now, and when I awaken you in a few moments' time, you'll come to the realization that you're an alien interpreter. You can speak English, so you can tell me what the aliens are saying, but also you'll be able to communicate with the aliens in their strange alien language. Nod your head if you understand.
Fantastic. And the two people that I'm about to touch on the shoulders right now, that's you, my darling, and you. You'll just be able to watch this, but the moment I say sleep, you'll instantly re-enter this state. So for now, everyone, each and every one of you on stage, wakey, wakey, rise and shine, wakey, wakey, rise and shine, wakey, wakey. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's talk show, and we've got three very special guests for you from a long, long way away in the galaxy. Please put your hands together for what can only be termed what we would call down here, but we'll find out what they prefer to be called in a moment, but I would call them aliens from outer space. Give them a round of applause. Now, we're very lucky to have an alien interpreter here today, so if you could be so kind, what I'd like you to do is just ask our three visitors which, kind of how far away is the planet that they've come from?
2,300 light year from...
That's a long way, yeah. Could you just, are they all from the same planet? Can you just...
عشان ساعتها no. Three different ones.
Oh, three different planets. Yeah. I tell you what, just so we can get to know them, if you'd like to ask each of them in turn, one by one, what their hobby is on their planet, their universe, where they come from, that'd be fantastic, starting with the male alien.
He's a collector
of
confetti.
Oh, right. That's convenient then, isn't it? Yeah. Can you tell him that afterwards, when we've done this interview, he can have as much of this confetti as he wants?
Oh, is here.
I think we have a happy alien. Excellent.
He seems very happy.
Thank you. It's fine. And let's see what the lady alien.
She's a receptionist.
Oh, right. Okay, that's a bit more down to earth, shall we say.
That's something I actually didn't know.
Yeah,
myself.
excellent. And our final alien, if you could.
Sha?
Je m'appelle écoute much life true.
She's putting rocks in holes.
Rocks in holes? Cool. You know what'd be nice on top of those rocks with holes? You should tell her to team up and, top it with some of the confetti. It'd be good. They could team up, couldn't they?
Maybe they can work together.
Excellent. Huh? Well, if you can just tell them thank you very much for being here, joining us on the show, and if you'd just like to thank them on my behalf and the audience's behalf. Then you can have as much confetti as he wants. Tell him you can start getting it now. Much as you want. You can get off the chair. Tell him you can get off your chair. He can. Much as you want. Yeah. Oh dear. It's a bit odd, this, isn't it? Bit strange. Yeah.
Sure.
Excellent. And just sleep, relax, drifting down, sinking down. That's excellent. Sleep, relax, sleep, relax, sleep, relax, relax, relax. In a few moments' time, when and only when I say wide awake, then and only then you'll be wide awake. And a piece of music will begin to play. When it does, you will believe you've got awards for being the world's worst, most ridiculous, stupid, outrageously funny, uncoordinated disco dancing champions. Nod your heads if you understand. Excellent. Except for one person, the person I'm about to touch on the shoulder, and that person alone, and that's you. When you hear the music, you believe you are the duck that was in the studio earlier. And you think you're trying to lay a square egg. And every now and again, you'll give out that really big, loud duck quack, quack, because you're frustrated you can't lay the egg. Not yet, if you understand. Excellent. When I tap you on the center of the forehead, the very moment, the very second, the very instant I tap you on the center of the forehead, everything I've said to you in this room here today will be completely cancelled out and you'll be your normal self in every way. In other words, you'll not react to these pieces of music like you did here if you hear them outside. You'll be just as you were. In fact, you'll be better. You'll feel better than you did before you entered this room. And the more noise the audience makes, the more outrageous and ridiculous you will become. 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Come on, let's hear you clapping. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. All this way. Your volunteer number 1, a huge round of applause. Make your way back safely, thank you. Come on, the more noise, more ridiculous you get. That's excellent. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine, all this way. Your volunteer number 2, you share. Thank you very much. Come, it's party time. Wakey, wakey. Thank you, sir, you're an absolute star. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. Hey, wide awake, wakey, wakey. Give this lady a huge share. Thank you, you're a star. Make your way back safely. Wakey, wakey. Normal self, give her a huge share. Thank you very much. Safely go back. Lower, a bit quieter. Oh, it's going to happen any time now, Duck. Don't worry, because the moment I tap you on the shoulder, Duck, you'll give out the biggest quack of your life because you'll have such a sense of relief as you realise that you've just laid that square egg. 1, 2, 3. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. An absolute star. You're a huge round of applause. Take your bow. Thank you. Make your way back safely. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience. Hear it one more time for the volunteers. My name's Jonathan Royle. Thank you and good night. Thank you. Thank you.
La télévision est une innovation, peut-être même une suggestion utopique. Au début, elle remplaçait le théâtre, les concerts, les conférences, les cinémas, les cafés et les journaux. C'est devenu un moyen de culture de masse. Quel est son rôle dans le monde d'aujourd'hui ? Ou plutôt, que pourrait-elle faire ? À bientôt. Merci de nous avoir écoutés. Merci de nous avoir prêté attention.
Wow! Are you still here? Well, if you are, what are you waiting for? Go to the link above or below this video and book your place to attend or to get the recordings of the Performing Hypnosis Summit that takes place on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of March 2023. Look through the amazing list of people who are going to be sharing stuff with you. My section alone, I guarantee, is worth many times the small cost of attending, but heck, there's some real legends. Terry Stokes, Marshall Silver, Richard Barker, Tom Silver, Terry Stokes, Marshall Silver. There's a bunch of them. Look, and here's the thing. Another reason why you should make sure you tune into my section is I've been the backroom boy for many of the biggest names in the industry as well. The evidence at magicalguru.co.uk shows that I've taught more people who are now successful comedy stage hypnotists, filling 5-star theatres, performing on 5-star cruise lines, performing to celebrities with their own TV, radio, media appearances and shows, and working for real high-level clients and earning really big money and being really successful. And also I've taught more hypnotherapists who are really at the top of the tree than any other living hypnosis trainer on the planet. It sounds egotistical and arrogant, but it's true and proven by the evidence at magicalguru.co.uk. That's magicalguru.co.uk. If you want to jump on board and learn what I taught these famous people, then you need to go to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com for the world's most amazing hypnosis training package that comes with a full 1 year, 100% satisfaction money back guarantee. Yeah, I mean, for example, Tom Silver hosted a show called The Extreme Truth on the Playboy channel in America, which later was taken over by Justin Trance. And ultimately, that was bought off a UK production company called Objective Productions, who made it for Channel 4 in England, based on an idea I put to them called Hypnotism and Sex in the early 90s, when I was known as the hypnotist who apparently hypnotised women to get them into bed. Hence my best-selling book, Hypnotism and Sex. That's what I was naming the show after, and it then got dubbed Hypno-Sex on Channel 4 in England, and then got licensed to America, where it became The Extreme Truth. Not only that, but you'll have heard of people like Darren Brown, the world famous mentalist, mind reader and hypnotist. Well, the production company that make his shows bought practically every one of my training courses and used various elements of them in many of their projects, including Rajan and the Evil Hypnotist, a Channel 4 TV show that used many of the things from the Hypnotrick section of my courses. And even Darren's shows have used elements from some of my courses as inspiration or direct source material. And as well as that, many of the people on this summit I've interviewed on my hypnosisweek.com podcast. Yes, indeed, you can check out interviews with Alan Sands, with Adam Cox, with Tom Silver, with a whole bunch of people. All the links are above or below this video. Do it and get your ticket for the Performing Hypnosis Summit, Saturday 11th, Sunday 12th of March 2023. Be there, or if you can't, secure the recordings now, or you can get them at that tiny, amazing value for money price. Bye for now.